I have returned with another cover song video. So I have to explain this one. This is going to be, because I don't think in the history of this channel I've done this. I had a dream. It's going to sound like the most absurd dream you've ever heard, but it's how I got to today's song. I was dreaming that I was at a premiere for a Tom Cruise movie. And apparently this Tom Cruise movie is a Tom Cruise movie he either wrote and directed or produced. Like, there's a whole thing. But it's just me and like audience. There's like a whole bunch of people. Tom Cruise is there, looking like Tom Cruise. And I can't tell you what the movie was about. I can't. I don't know what the movie was about. I can tell you what the end credits were. So the credits are rolling, and this song is playing, but it's the Civil War's version of this song. And the song is Dance With Me to the End of Love, which I didn't realize until I did it, is a Leonard Cohen song. Now, we've covered Leonard Cohen on this channel before. In fact, Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah, or Jeff Buckley's version of Leonard Cohen's song Hallelujah, is in the top 5 of all-time cover songs. And that's because it does the things you want cover songs to do, which I've talked about ad nauseum on this channel. You want somebody to take the song, turn it into their thing, and when they turn it into their thing, you may or may not recognize the original version. Even if you know the original version, you'll be like, ooh, that's their song. Other examples of this have been like All on the Watchtower by Bob Dylan, Proud Mary by Creedence Clearwater Revival. Those songs are now Tina Turner songs and Jimi Hendrix songs, respectively. So, the credits end up rolling, the song plays, the movie ends, the lights come up, Tom Cruise looks over at me, gives me like this head nod, and then I wake up. And that's how we got to today's song. Now, to probably put a finer point on this song, I want to talk about a little bit about Cohen to begin with, and this is kind of probably the way I've not done it before. Usually I'll talk about the cover song artist first. I want to just kind of briefly touch on Cohen because we talked about him before, but not about this song specifically. So there's a way to kind of deal with that here. And it's only because, first of all, I forgot that this was a Leonard Cohen song, to be perfectly honest with you. And to be fair, this is one of my favorite Civil War songs to begin with. And I'm not. Let me not do this. Let me go back to Song Facts. Song Facts is the place I usually go to find out stuff on different artists. It's my go-to for a lot of history, a lot of background on people. So we're going to put the song in the Song Facts. And normally I wouldn't even do this. At least not this way. Okay. Okay, so I had to do this. Okay, Leonard Cohen, okay. Wow, Song Facts only has a few Leonard Cohen songs. Oh, we can scroll down. Here we go. So let's get the basic breakdown about this song from Song Facts. We're gonna kind of paraphrase because I don't need to read you like a whole mountain of text. So, despite this song being structured as a love song, this song, Things I Didn't Know, was actually and before I tell you what this song was actually inspired by, when the Civil War does it without any context, by the way, It's done as a love song. It's structured as a love song. That's not what it is. This song is actually inspired by the Holocaust. So what happened was Cohen recalled, quote, he just came from hearing or reading or knowing that in the death camps beside the crematoria in certain of the death camps, a string quartet was pressed into performance while this horror was going on. Those are the people whose fate was this horror also, and they'd be playing classical music while their fellow prisoners were being killed and burnt. So that music, danced me to your beauty with a burning violin, meaning that the beauty there of being the consummation of life, the end of this existence, and that passionate element in that consummation. But it's that same language we use to surrender to the beloved. So that song, it's important everybody knows the genesis of it, because the language comes from that passionate resource. And it will be able to embrace all passionate activity. Now that comes from 1,000 Songs in a Rocky World by Dave Thompson. Now this is on the Various Positions album, which was arranged by John Lisnauer. Wow, so this is crazy. So the assignment was to release an album that had one or two momentous songs on it. So the other very famous song on this album that we've briefly touched on earlier is Hallelujah. Is also on this record. They ended up recording it with like a toy Casio, and because the beat never came to life, by the way, and this person's never been brought up on in this series, going to say her name for the first time now. Leonard and Jennifer Warnes swayed over with this languid personal singing, as Lisnauer recalls. Madeline Perot's covered it on Careless Love, and Civil Wars covered it on Barton Hollow for their 2011 album. To know that this song was inspired by the Holocaust is crazy. It's also published, a book titled Dance With Me to the End of Love was published by Welcome Books as part of his art and poetry series. And that volume featured lyrics of the song alongside paintings by Henri Matisse. So that's who, I mean, once again, to touch on the whole Hallelujah situation, I can't tell you that Various Positions is his best album, but it definitely has two of his most memorable songs on it. Now, let's talk about Civil Wars for a second. And I'm doing this completely different than I would normally do cover song series. They're an American musical duo composed of Joy Williams and John Paul White. It was formed in 2008. And their debut album is Barton Hollow in 2011, which won 2 Grammy Awards. Let me see which Grammys it won. Real quick. So, and Safe and Sound is also off that record. They won 2 Grammy Awards. I'm reading through Wikipedia, which is, I'm using just as a clearinghouse. Let me see. I'm trying to figure out where it says they won their Grammy. This gives me like the worst overview ever. Hold on. They got a bunch of critical acclaim for this record. Rolling Stone talked about one of the best albums of NPR listed as one of the best albums of 2011. They got nominated for the Country CMA Award, an AMA Award. They won Best Folk Album and Best Country Duo or Group Performance that year. And they introduced Taylor Swift because they have a duet with her on the Hunger Games soundtrack from that year. Now, I discovered this band like everybody else kind of discovered this band. They played this performance at Eddie's Attic in Atlanta, and this is back in 2009. And Poison and Wine was showed up on the season of Grey's Anatomy. Their second live show is the Eddie's Attic show that happened in Atlanta. They opened for Will Hodge. Anyway, that whole show, you can find that show on YouTube. They do, and once again, this goes back to my argument about whether I would talk about or have any sections on live covers. They do kind of a phenomenal cover of Billie Jean on the Eddie's Attic show. You should probably go watch that. They broke up in kind of a very like burn it all down way. And I'm not even going to talk about that for this whole situation because it's not the breakup of that band is not enigmatic of how, or could be enigmatic of how good the band was, because they burned really hot, and then as soon as everybody fell in love with them and they come up with this kind of very devoted following, it's over. And what we're left with is a series of great albums and a couple of very good covers. And one of those covers is this one. Is it an all-time cover? I don't know. It's a very good cover. I hadn't heard Madeleine Perot's version of this song, which I probably need to go check out. I think it's very good. I think it works definitely as a duet, just based on the same structure as the original. It definitely does harken back to the original. But it makes it its own, but it doesn't outshine the original. But it's very good, and Civil War is one of my favorite bands, especially in that kind of folk Americana genre. So I want to just sit here and do this real quick, drop this because this dream happened like a week or two ago. Had to go do some research. This is one, and I don't know if this format works. I don't know if this on the fly doing the research for the video works versus doing the other way I do it. Let me know in the comments if this is better or this is worse. We will come up with another cover song series, another cover song in the cover song series. There's gonna be some other stuff on this channel, and then check out because I got some new content coming on soon. I figured out whether I was gonna talk about it on this channel or not. There's another channel that covers other things. It's not the other channel that you're probably familiar with. It's a channel with my name on it. This other channel, different. More talks about news, more of a news critique situation. And we'll probably put links to that when there's content for it, because it's not out yet. All right, peace and out for Greece. Later.